Hey.
Hi, everyone.
It's Janet and Doug.
Newberry.
Yeah, and we are not in a truck.
One's close by, though.
We'll tag you in this video. Facebook's given me that choice. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
so we are not in the truck, but the truck is behind us. The Airstream is behind us. You want to see where
Let's
we
see.
are?
Go
Let's
ahead.
see. There's Freedom, the Airstream. Hi, Annette.
Hi, Annette.
Rowdy's feeling better. Hey, Rowdy, you want to be in the video? Say hi. Rowdy's feeling better. This is the view of where we are.
That's me.
Yeah, that's Doug. We'll just give you a panoramic. You can see we are almost by ourselves at the lake. I have no idea what you're seeing right now, but there's the truck that we're usually sitting in. Let's see. Yeah, and here's the Airstream, and we're back to here. We're hoping that we have enough cell service to do Facebook Live here at the picnic table.
I think we do. And so we're saving gas by doing this.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful place, as you can see, and we're grateful to be here and grateful to be able to share this with you.
Yeah, this is part 2. We did What Do We Do with Emotions part 1 last Monday night. If you didn't see it, and if you want to hear what we said last Monday night on part 1, you can do 2 things. You can go to Janet Newberry on YouTube, or you can wait till Wednesday and listen to the Brave Love podcast, because it's the topic on our Brave Love podcast this Wednesday as well. So either one. But this is part 2, and the title is How Do We Help Our Children with Emotions? And we started with parents last week on purpose.
Yeah, that's where it should have started.
It has to start with parents, and so we can't really help our children do something. I would not be a very good mechanic to teach my children how to be a mechanic, because I don't know anything about mechanics. And so until we ourselves have a community that helps us make decisions and choices in a healthy way instead of in an emotional way, it's going to be difficult to share that with our children. And last week we started with a quote that, will you read it again this week? Because it's just powerful for parents and children. And it's in one of our favorite books.
You're probably seeing it backwards.
It's okay. They know this book.
The Cure in Parents.
Yes.
The quote, when your children are young, being the parent carries enough control to handle them. But if you don't grow up as they grow older, your immaturity will stunt their maturity at the level of your own. And no measure of control can handle that. That's
ouch
powerful.
And ouch.
So powerful.
Right? Because Charlotte Mason sometimes says, or she said a long time ago, a river cannot rise higher than its source. And this is true for parents and children. And so it is so vital that we as adults have a community of grace, so that we can grow up and we can find our unresolved places and resolve those, so that we can help our children with the same thing. And last week we showed you this triangle, if you remember that. And this week Doug was laughing at me because she had to write the words backwards, because I don't know
some
how.
Talent. there is really some talent involved here.
So I wanted to show you these with the words on them, because there's 2 different choices. So I'm going to show you 2 different cards, but we're going to start with one. We're going to start with the good card. All right.
That's too close. Maybe a little too close. There you go.
I was trying. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope the letters are not backwards. They may be. So I just tried my best. But this is a healthy situation. And I would suggest that you show this picture or draw this picture with your children. In a healthy world, there's decisions and choices that we're going to make. There's habits that we're going to form. And they're going to get formed because here's me and my emotions down here together in this corner. And here's God and others over here that are going to help me process my emotions, experience them fully, digest them. Last week I told a great story about one time when I was processing my disappointment with God, and it's a good reason to go back and watch that if you didn't see it. But we don't want to water down our emotions.
No,
we don't want to hide them or stuff them. We don't want to minimize them. They are one of the greatest gifts in our life. We just can't make decisions based on them, or we can't manage them. Emotions are not manageable.
But they're going to be accompanying you in every decision you make, whether you like it or not. They are a part of our fiber.
They are a part of us. And so here's the other triangle that sometimes happens. And I put the word toxic in the middle of this because if you look at the bottom, the top of the triangle is the same. There's still the decisions, choices, and habits that we need to make in life. But instead of me and my emotions being together in one corner and God and others being a part of my community, in this triangle, there's just me and my emotions. And so all of my decisions and choices and the habits that I'm forming, these are who's sitting in the driver's seat right here. There's no protection, there's no processing, there's no digesting. And so this is the model that we want you to think about and even share with your children in a way that they began to see what is the beauty and the protection of a community of grace, right? Because, and when we put God over here, God and others, for children it's vital that it's more than a peer group.
And we're not making these decisions and forming habits and choices in isolation. That's about the most unhealthy place that we could possibly do it, because you're only relying on yourself then and your emotions. And that's just not a good place to make decisions from. The outcome is not going to be maybe what we were looking for.
And we don't even know that, because part of being a child and part of being in the process of growing up is relying on other people to love us well. And part of love is direction. Part of love is correction. Part of love is literally helping us form a GPS system, a navigational system that is part of our identity instead of just based on our emotions. And so sometimes we talk about emotions make great passengers in life.
But they make terrible drivers.
And so when we have, and we'll even use the word hijacked, sometimes our children's behavior gets hijacked by their emotions, because instead of the emotions sitting fully in the passenger seat of life, they've allowed their emotions to sit in the driver's seat, and they're making their decisions. And if their only community is a peer group, then
they're only listening to like-minded, mature folks their same age.
And so it's a peer group is an echo chamber. A peer group has the same amount of experience than you do, right? Whoever thought of putting 13 and 14-year-olds all together in one building and by the hundreds or thousands of them and calling it a middle school, I don't know that they thought that through, because there's no one really, there's not enough mentorship in a peer group like there is in a multi-age community. And so it's vital that home is a safe place to have emotions, experience emotions, not numb emotions, but process them in a way that they add texture and add value to life, add depth and add beauty to life. Add the highs and add the lows, but let it be good to be me here with you in every emotion.
Yeah, if you're making decisions in isolation, that's the same thing as independence.
Yeah.
And we're not created to make decisions or be independent. We're created to be dependent.
Yeah.
On one another, on God, on a community, and that's where healthy decisions are made, in trusted relationships.
And this question came from the work that we do in our online classes and the work that we do with homeschool families, because often we hear parents with this dilemma. But my kid doesn't want to. Or the response I'm going to get from them is, I don't feel like it. And our culture reinforces that. It gives them that idea, and if that idea has room to take root and grow, it's going to flourish in our culture, that I make decisions based on how I feel. And this is a recipe for disaster. It may work for a little bit, but as parents, we get to be the vulnerable ones. We get to share our joy and our processing and our ways of digesting the fullness of our emotions and keeping the good and dropping off the bad after we've learned everything that our emotions bring to our story. We get to share those strategies with our children. And if we don't know how, we get to learn how. We get to find a community of grace that will help us learn how so that we can help our children. Because the last thing we want to share is our numbing strategies.
Right. The numbing strategies is when you just really begin covering up or just picking up a mask and not dealing with the issue that's right in front of you, but hiding from the issue.
Right. We can numb it with food. We can numb it with shopping. We can numb it with computer games. We can numb emotions with any number of things. We can minimize them instead of really, I just want to say, carpe diem, seize the day, instead of just sucking the marrow out of the emotions and all that they want to teach us and all that they want to offer to our life experiences. We can minimize them and numb them, but
what happens to unresolved emotions? They get buried alive.
Yes, so unresolved emotions get buried alive, and they are going to bear fruit. They're going to grow.
It's not going to be fruit that's going to be pleasant.
Right. It's going to be toxic fruit. And so to be able to resolve the emotions, to be able to process them, to go to a parent from a very young age. And if you didn't start this when your children were young, it's never too late. It's never too late for us to learn to process and digest and sort the lies from the truth in our feelings, because our feelings are always very, very real, but they don't always tell us the truth. And we need help to figure out which part of our feelings are truthful and which part are lies, right?
So what combines with unpleasant emotions? What else comes along with that?
Well, in a healthy community, in a healthy, if I were going to process sadness with you, if I were going to process fear with you, or I was going to process any unpleasant emotion with you, because I trust you, because you're mostly mature, because you're a safe place to process and digest emotions, I'm going to get some oxytocin. I'm going to get the love hormone. You're going to listen to me. You're going to hear me. You're going to help me get out all of the story.
Right.
And without trying to fix me, without trying to dismiss or shorten anything or hurry the process along, oxytocin is going to get mixed with my unpleasant emotions, and you're going to share your joy with me.
What if my less than mature self shows up?
If your less than mature self shows up, then I'm not going to get oxytocin from you. If for some reason we trigger each other, pardon the truck that's driving by right now, just wave at the...
Yeah, evidently we don't have this entire place to ourselves.
If for some reason, and we say this, we laugh about this sometimes when we know we've pushed each other's buttons.
Yeah, did I just push you in an old rut, or did you fall in it?
Yeah.
One of the two. Did I get it backwards?
Did I just push you in an old rut? Or did I fall? Did you just fall in an old rut, or did I push you there, is what we usually say. And sometimes when our very, very real emotions trigger each other, sometimes instead of love, we get fear or something fear-based. And fear-based is shame. Fear-based is control. Fear-based is should. And all of those words. And so when cortisol, the fear emotion, gets mixed with this, with these unpleasant emotions, then literally over time brain damage happens, right? Cortisol is meant for our good, but it is the fight and flight hormone. Right. And so if I were to pour my heart out to you and you respond in some shameful, shoulding sort of way, it's going to turn into fight and flight. When respond with listening and hearing and pulling out and helping me pour
Right.
out the whole story, and together we can sort the lies from the truth, then that love helps me, what we call, return to joy.
Yeah, and oxytocin wipes out cortisol every time. Every time.
Every single time. Science has proven that oxytocin is stronger than cortisol. I love that God knew before the beginning of time that we would need it to be.
Love one another. It really works.
It's a brilliant plan.
It really does work.
And so the whole idea is this building of joy strength and the ability to return to joy from every unpleasant emotion. And joy isn't happiness.
No, it's far from happiness. I mean, it may intersect with happiness, but joy can run parallel with every other emotion that you have, even through the difficult times. Joy doesn't have to be somewhere way over there. It runs on a parallel rail, and it's not far from you.
On my most difficult days, it is good to be me here with you, and that is our definition of joy.
Right.
It's good to be me here with you. And so when we teach our children, when they're sad, when they're angry, when they're mad, when they're disappointed, when they feel betrayed, if it is good to be me here with you, that is this card right here. That's healthy. Me and my emotions, God and others that I trust, helping me navigate my decisions and my choices and my habits. If it's not good to be me here with you, if we have no joy strength in our relationship together, if I have to get everything right, if I have to walk on eggshells around you, right, then it's toxic, because I'm left to deal with my emotions by myself, and I'm going to end up numbing, right? Hiding behind a screen, grabbing something to make me feel better, whether it's food, a new pair of shoes,
A glass of wine,
a margarita, a second serving, right? Because here's what our choices are in life. We have choices about food and Fortnite and sex and shopping and alcohol and work. And we have habits that we're going to form about that. If those are formed only on the basis of how we feel at any given moment, those are going to stay immature habits. We're going to make some choices that don't have impact and influence for good in our life in the long run, and probably don't have impact and influence for good in other people's lives in the long run either.
Yeah, if you make these decisions in isolation, you're using yourself as your resource, and so therefore you're probably going to default to what you want, and that's not always necessarily what is best. And that's why you've got to have a community of trusted friends and people surrounding you.
Thank you, Annette, for your encouragement, and thank you, Kathy, too. Yes, this is fun. So let's give you some takeaways. And
okay. First one, emotions are very real, and they don't always tell us the truth. They are important passengers and poor drivers.
It is just vital that our kids know that they're great passengers, but we can drop them off when we're finished we're finished processing them. We don't. They're not our identity. Right. Our identity gets to stay in the driver's seat. The second takeaway that we'll leave with you is it is not good to be alone with our emotions. We need trusting relationships to protect us.
That's where the voices come from that I hear that tell me I'm less than what I was really created to be.
Yes, we're vulnerable when we're experiencing unpleasant emotions, and our children need more mature people in their community, not just their peers.
Right. Third one, get it out, don't live it out. This is one of my favorites. Our children need safe, mature relationships, not just echo chambers.
Mm-hmm. Get it out, don't live it out. We should make a t-shirt about that. And as a parent or a grandparent, if you need a community of grace, join one of our online classes. Go to janetnewberry.com. We'll put you in our discussion group, and we help people process emotions on a regular basis, and the love, the oxytocin that pours out of that community as a part of those classes is a very healing thing. Nothing's fixed and everything's changed because it is the way God has designed us to live in community.
Yeah, we're a part of it. It's not just us. There's people from all walks of life and all parts of the world that are there as well. And like she said, nobody comes to fix anything, but they do bring a lot of love and compassion, and we listen to each other.
Yes. Hey, Nadine. Hey, Arla. It's good to see you. And today is the last day. I'll put a link in the comment section of this. Today's the last day. If you want to order a Brave Love t-shirt and help us out in that regard, then that's kind of a fun thing to do too. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
I'm so glad that we got to show you the great outdoors instead of the inside of the truck. And
there we go.
yeah, so we're back on. It made it to the very end. So we'll see you again next week, and there is great hope.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.